Fear. I sleep all through the night, long and past sunrise. A full belly keeps me drowsy all day long. I should be happy, but I am haunted by memories. After a hunt, there is always joy in the pack. Howling, wrestling, games of chase. And when the celebrating was done, we would all lie down together, paws and tails overlapping, the comforting scent of my pack all around me. Sometimes I would keep myself awake just to hear the sound of them breathing. All is well, Mother would murmur to me. We are together. There is more food to eat. I should go back to the deer, but the thought of eating alone makes my tail droop clear down to the ground. When I finally stir myself, the moon is a pale yellow claw on the horizon, and my raven is head under wing in the trees above me. I shake from nose to tail. I square my shoulders and beat my front paws to the ground to test my strength. I growl as though I am a lead wolf, but there is no one to hear me, no one to share my food, no one to curl up with and rest. The pain of my injuries, the pain of hunger, is nothing compared to the pain that stills my wag and holds in my hell. Though I hate it, I go to the shore of the Black River one last time. I call out one last goodbye to my lost family. No one will hear me. I can barely hear myself, but I give them one last howl. It is all I have. As I turn to go, a noisemaker rounds the bend. It fires through a sweep of light across the far bank. In that light, just for a moment, I see a flash of amber. My heart skips a beat. It is a wolf. Another noisemaker, another sweep of light, and I can see black ears and a dark face with shining amber eyes. A wolf! A true wolf! I yip spin like a pup. I call to her. I breathe in the smells, searching for a scent of her. The smells of the Black River nearly choke me, but underneath them, a female wolf. I yip spin again and call her over. She does not answer, but in the flashes of light that fall across her, I can tell that she sees me. She paces the far bank, strong, black, and beautiful. She is young like me, a perfect hunting partner. Already I can feel her running shoulder to shoulder beside me. Already I can imagine licking her ears. How can I get her to cross? Food. Obviously food. I dash over to yesterday's deer. I sink my teeth into the meatiest leg and tug it free. A sweep of light from a noisemaker swings across his shattered rib bones. I drop the leg in horror. The Black River. It will kill her. I scramble back. The ground is trembling with the approach of the longest noisemaker I have ever seen. Danger! Stay away! I call to her. She lifts her head to howl, but as she does, the long noisemaker makes the death cry of a bull elk. It rings in my ears, drowning out the stranger's wolf voice. The rumble of it makes the little stones on the shore hop. The whoosh of air pushes me back a step. When my ears stop echoing and my eyes clear from the dazzle of light, the black wolf is still there, pacing the far shore. Do not cross! I howl. Already another noisemaker is on the way. She runs up the bank and then turns just in time. Stay back! I call to her. Even as I say it, I am stabbed with regret. I want her company here on the far shore where nothing but strange ground lies before me. She does not back away from the noisemakers, and I love her courage, even as I am filled with horror at what might happen if she tries to cross. She calls to me, but her voice is drowned out. She tries again with a running start. I cannot bear to watch, but I cannot turn away. At the last minute, she shies away from the approaching noisemaker. I gasp with relief, but no sooner does the thing pass than she tries again. She is stubborn, more like Pounce than warm. How can I persuade her to stay away when she can't hear my warning? Do not die, I whisper. I cannot bear it. Not after father, not after Warm. I have had too much of death. I will not watch another. I lift up my head and howl along. No! My raven hears me. She braves the darkness to fly to my side, and something in her unblinking gaze reminds me of Growl. Growl had a look, a face he made, if we pups were about to stray out of bounds. If we got more than a moment's dash from the safe cover of our den, he would raise the fur on his shoulders and beat the ground with his front paws. He would dip his head low, glare straight in the eye, and make a low, sucking growl. I could not look away from that look. It terrified me. He did not lay a tooth or paw on us, but if we never, ever crossed the boundary he set for us. Do all wolves do this? I have to try. I think about how Growl looked at me when I was about to cross the line. I moved directly across the Black River from the Black Wolf. I put my body in the pose of an angry pup watcher. I wait for the light from a noisemaker to wash over me, and I give her my fiercest pup watcher growl. I know she cannot hear me, but she can see the way I stand and beat the ground and lower my head. She can see me watch her with that commanding look, my lips curled back with growling. Do not pass! I put all my fear and loneliness into that growl. I glare at her with all the protective menace I can muster. Do not pass! Do not pass! I beat the ground until my shoulders ache and my voice is raw. When I can do nothing more, I pace the bank of the Black River and search for her amber eyes. Only darkness looks back at me. I stumble away from the shore, my growl worn away to a whimper. I did it. I saved her. Water. My raven finds me in the dark. She perches on the ground beside me all night long. When the sun rises, I follow her lead. She is all the pack I have now. We leave the Black River far behind, and I am grateful. It is quiet on the flat ground and windy. It will be many days before I am hungry again, but by the time the sun is beating down on me with the full strength of midday, I am thirsty. The rocks get sharper as we travel. I slow to a trot and pick my way around them. I look, smell for water, but there is no trace. I flop down under a shrub. Its shade is no bigger than my body. It is not any cooler underneath, but the shimmer of sun has made my eyes weary. I close them to rest, panting away the heat. My mouth is dry as an old bone, and still there is no scent of water. Ants curl up in my fur, and I don't have the energy to shake them off. My raven circles back and waits in the tree. She is eager to keep going. The sky is an easy run. No stones to bruise her feet. She calls to me. Wait! I bark back. Dark is coming. Cooler air is coming. I say my reasons as patiently as a wolf can, but my raven is not persuaded. She flies off again. I follow her, but slowly. The heat of the day passes, and we have not found water, but my raven holds to the sunset line as if she has flown this way before and knows where water lives. We pass more of the gray lines, but these are rusty and lying on the ground or wound up in a tangled ball. The smell of men is long gone, but I refuse to go near them. Far away on the horizon I see cows, rust-colored against the silver and gold of grass and sagebrush. I am not hungry. Thirst is all I can think of. I am sure my raven will lead us to water. She needs it as much as I do. When the sun goes down, she finds her tree for the night. Where is the water? I growl. She turns her back to me. I've followed you, and there's no water. She only calls back, shakes out her wings, and settles into sleep. I find a stand of junipers and lie down to rest my sore paws. I imagine wading into the ice-cold streams of my home ground. Sleep does not come. The ground is rocky, the wind is hot and dry. Nothing smells like home. I whimper like a pup and don't even care if my raven hears me. In my desperate thirst, I remember that under the hard bark of the cut on my chest, my own body ran with red. I would drink even that. I look at the bark to open my skin. It is rough, and my tongue is drier than sand, but the edges of the bark lift up. I look harder. It stings, but I don't care. The edges crumple away, and then at last the whole strip of the bark breaks free. With a grateful gasp, I look at my chest, but there is no red to drink, only a smooth white mark where the cut once was. I throw back my head and howl and howl and howl until I've howled up at the moon. In its light, I close my eyes at last and fall asleep. The moon carries me in a dream all the way back to my home ground and all its falling waters, sweet, clear, and cold. When I wake, I am even more thirsty. The grit of dirt and sand in my fur itches as much as the bugs. No amount of rolling and scratching makes it better. Birds fly overhead, rivers of them. They fly away from the sunrise, songbirds and packs of quacking ducks and geese in their long lines. My raven takes off and follows them, but I am too angry, footsore, too thirsty to follow. I lie back down under the juniper. Birds keep coming. A cloud of speckled songbirds swoop and dive as if they are one creature. A pack of giant cranes, loud and long-necked, follow them. They fly in the same direction, talking all at once, but lowering to the ground as they go. Maybe all the birds are on to something. I get up, clamber on top of a boulder, and take a look. On the horizon is a stripe of green and a shimmer of blue beyond it. I take off running, long strides pounding the ground, the sore pads of my feet forgotten. All I can think about is water. I run so fast I flush out a family of owls from their nest. A long-eared rabbit scatters in one direction and his mate in another. The ground softens as I get closer. I can smell green growing things and a lake full of water. I crash into the lake and drink. The water is cool and still and tart. I drink it in gulps, panting with relief. The mud soothes my feet after so many days on rocky ground. I roll over and over, drowning all the itchy bugs in my fur. I kick up water just for the pleasure of hearing it splash. Full at last, I wade to the shore and shake, and then I duck under the water and shake again just because I can. There are more birds around the lake than I have ever seen in my life. The huge gray cranes that had flew in ahead of me are still making a racket. They flap their broad wings and jump spin like pups fresh out of the den. There are smaller cranes with long yellow legs. Pure white swans with long necks and black bills bow to one another. Ducks and geese carry Ducks and geese of every color swim in circles. Some of them carry their pups on their backs. Others have pups trailing after them in a line of fluff and quacks. If a wolf didn't mind feathers, he would eat his fill. The warm wind dries my fur, and I look to the shoreline for a meal. Things with hoofs come to the water at dusk. I will be ready for them when they do. I pick a spot where there are many hoof prints in the mud. I settle in the tall grass nearby and wait. As the shadows grow long, a yearling buck comes to the water. His horns are short, and there is no scars on him as tested bucks have. He is wary, but not wary enough. I spring on him and land the killing blow before he has time to run. He falls at the water's edge. I pause for a moment before eating, a moment of respect his father taught me. This is the first kill I have taken on my own. The little things, fish, snakes, raccoons, and mice, were nothing to celebrate. But this kill, father would be proud of this. My raven will be hungry. We have not eaten in days. I call her and open the hide. Good things spill out in a warm, steamy pile. I take a few bites and call for my raven again. She led me to water all the way across the dry flats. I will be glad of her company over the meat. It feels wrong to eat alone. My raven doesn't come. I call her again. A whole pack of ravens rise up from the grass with a great rattling call. They come to me. They swarm around the meat. I am happy to share. I take the parts that are a wolf's due and settle in to chewing as the ravens pick over their bits of meat. I search for mine among them, but they look all alike. I call to her, but none of them look up. I sniff the air, but ravens all smell the same to me. My raven had a bald patch on her chest, much like the white line on my shoulder. I look for it, and when I find her, I yip a greeting. She carries on, eating and squabbling with her pack as if I am not there, as if kinship between a wolf and a raven is impossible, as if all the days we have traveled together mean nothing at all. When the shadows grow long and the air cools, every one of the raven takes to the sky without a backward look. They roost together on the other side of the water, far away from me. My raven has her pack now. My raven has her pack now. I have eaten my fill. There is more water than I can drink, and yet I have never felt so empty. I know, I have always known, that the raven could never be a packmate to me. No mere bird could take the place of Pounce or Wag, certainly not of Worm. And yet we have taken a journey together. We have shared meat. She was my guide and companion. The soft talk of doves and the beauty of the setting sun do not comfort me. Mountain. I turn away from my only friend and walk on along the lake shore. The cool mud is soft under my feet. I search for the tracks of a wolf among all the duck and deer and coyote prints. There is plenty of everything here, except the one thing I want more than water and food. There is no sign that any wolf has passed this way. There are more things to eat than I can name, and nobody to eat them with. Still, I cannot be downcast with a full belly and a star-speckled sky. I have missed traveling by night, missed the chill of the mountains. I have been thirsty for clouds, mists, and rain. Here on the flat ground, even the moonlight is relentless. The ground around me stretches out in every direction. It all looks exactly the same. I pause and taste the wind. Lake water and birds are to one side of me, and nothing but sagebrush everywhere else. The rat-a-tat call of the frogs in the lake makes me shudder. I tried a frog once because Sharp dared me to do it. It was the worst thing I have ever eaten. All slime on the outside and bitter in the middle. Even Wag, who once dug up a hornet's nest, knew better than to eat frogs. Pounce mocked me for days. I am never going to eat anything with spots ever again. Where in all of this land would wolves live? There is food aplenty, but nothing feels like home to me. I turn away from the water. By the time the sun comes up, the lake is a silver blue shimmer far behind me, and a mountain lies on the horizon. It's a single mountain, but I am drawn to it anyway. Elk like a sloping meadow. If there is a wolf anywhere, it will be on a mountain. I move faster now that I can see my footing clearly. Rising ground and crisp air are welcome changes. There are a few thin stripes of snow reaching down from the peak, so I know there will be water above me. I climb at a steady pace. The pale green clumps of sagebrush give way to darker green junipers. The trees are few and far apart here and smaller than the ones I knew when I was growing up. They aren't hiding anything good to eat. I can smell marmots from somewhere in the cliffs and boulder fields ahead of me. They have the good sense to hold so still that I cannot see them, unlike the ground squirrels who have no sense of any kind and dash out of cover without even looking for danger. They are not worth the trouble of hunting. A mouthful of stripes and a squeak, that's all you get. Even bears who eat anything under the sun, including moths, hardly bother with the ground squirrel. As I climb, trees give way to open meadows with every kind of flower in the world. I zigzag all across the green, yellow, orange, blue of it, and tell myself I'm looking for some sign of deer or elk to eat, but I'm still full from yesterday. What I really want is a scent or track or tuft of hair from another wolf. This is a mountain. A mountain! There should be wolves. I have run for days and days. The moon has gone from fat to thin and is growing fatter again. Ever since I crossed the Black River, I have not seen a single wolf scat. No paw prints, no scent marks. I had brothers and sisters, a whole pack. I never imagined that the world could be so big, or that I could be so alone in it. I remember the wolf on the shore of the Black River, the one I drove away. I am not sorry that I saved her from being crushed by noisemakers. I want her to live, but I never wanted to be alone. There must be wolves somewhere, if only I knew which way to turn. I stop on a ridge at midday. I find a sheltered spot between boulders where the tall grasses cover me. A pair of vultures soars back and forth on the rising air. The drowsy hum of bees lulls me to sleep. In my dream, I hear the far-off drumming of hooves. In my dream, elk are running towards me, more elk than I could ever eat, and wolves following after them. They come closer and closer, and when they are almost close enough to touch, I startle awake, alone on a bare, windy mountain top. They were so close! I bark a hopeful call, even though I know it was only a dream. Echoes come back to tease me. My head slumps to the ground. How can there be so much land and no wolves? I heave a sigh, and then I feel the ground tremble. I listen, smell all around me, but there is no hint of elk. I keep my neck and chin pressed flat to the rock. The ground trembles like it does when elk are on the move. I am not dreaming. The shiver on the skin of the earth grows. There is no elk smell. After a while, I can hear the hoof beats coming up the mountain. They sound wrong. Something is off about the rhythm. I get to my feet, keep low and ready to run in case there is trouble. I listen for the high-pitched elk. I listen for the high-pitched I listen for the high-pitched calls elk make when they travel, but all I can hear is low snorting grunts. Very strange. Whatever they are, there are many of them. I see their cloud of dust first, and then they come over the rise. Horses! Horses are the packmates of men. They always came into our mountains together. They took food from each other. I look, smelled for men. The usual trap that sticks a man to a horse's back is gone. The lead horse is rounder than the rest, and the one at the back is the tallest. When they come to the open meadow below me, they slow to a walk and then stop to graze. The two smallest nip at each other's necks and have a race around the others. The tall one walks around the edge of the meadow, smelling the wind for trouble. He keeps an eye on the wrestling match, and when the yearlings get too close to the sheer cliff at one end of the meadow, he nudges them away from danger and settles their fight with one well-paced nip. He's the father of the pack, plain to see. The horses are all coyote-colored, with black manes, tails, and legs, and one long stripe down the back. The leader of the group, the fattest of them, circles the meadow until she finds a patch of snow in the shadow of an overhanging rock. She kicks a few chunks free and nibbles a drink of snow. Then she goes back to pacing in slower and slower circles. There is something odd about the lead horse's smell. It's almost like the red that runs from an elk when you kill it, but not quite. It's a little bit like the dark goo that runs out of the guts when you bite into them. But that is not right either. I am certain I have never smelled this before. The father can smell it too. He curls his upper lip back and breathes it in. He moves close to the lead horse and talks to her gently. He nose touches her and lets her rest against his shoulder. I cannot look away from their tenderness. It reminds me of Warm and our days together in the den. I hold completely still in the tall grass and watch. The smell that I cannot figure out grows stronger. It is a wild smell, a sharp smell, and something about it makes me hungry. The round horse walks more and more slowly. She lies down in the grass and then gets up. Water and a little bit of red runs down her back legs. Could she be sick? She lies down one more time, and the father stands guard over her. The other horses come around one by one and touch nose with her. Something is going on here. The lying down horse starts to shudder. The smell grows more pungent every moment, and I see more water spilling out. Something is definitely going on here, and it might be something delicious. I sit on my wag and wait. The father gives encouraging snorts and grunts. After a while, a great bulge comes out of the back of the horse, a sticky black bulge. It is the most disgusting, fascinating thing I have ever seen. I cannot look away. The lying down horse breathes in great shuddering breaths. The black bulge grows longer and stickier. This is not like any sickness I have ever seen. And still the father stands watch, faithful and strong. Shadows grow longer and the air cools. A sprinkle of rain falls. I lick the drops from the long grass, but still I cannot stop watching. The horse struggles to stand. She gets halfway up, only to flop back down as her bulge grows longer and longer. And then the slimy black thing splits open. 2 feet! Feet with hooves and knees that bend. I cannot believe it. There is a tiny horse inside the bulge, and the mother is having this little horse right in the middle of her family. No den, no burrow. Nothing. All her family is right there, watching and talking to her, touching her nose to nose. The grunts and cries go on, and then a head comes out all wrapped in the same sack that covers the legs. The father nips at the sack, and the head breaks free. The mother tries to half stand, and the rest of it comes out in a whoosh of waters and a burst of delicious smell. Hunt. My stomach gargles in anticipation. Pups are tasty. Everybody knows it. When I was learning to hunt, Growl showed me how to take down a deer pup just in case I was ever alone and hunting with a limp like him. It was sweet and tender, the bone so easy to crack, and the tasty middles of the bone fresher than I had ever eaten before. The mother horse licks her pup, eating up the sack of skin that he was born in as she goes. The father rears up and gives a call that is full of the victory of new life. Something about his voice makes me shiver with dread. He gallops a wide circle around the meadow, shaking his mane back and forth over its broad shoulders. He makes steaming, smelly piles to mark his home ground. I take a good look at these hooves and remember the elk that almost killed me. The sound of my own bones cracking rings clear in my memory. My shoulder aches to think of it, and I lick the white mark on my skin for comfort. This father of horses is not as tall as an elk, but he is just as broad and strong. His golden brown coat shines in the slant of afternoon sunlight. One kick from him and I might never walk again. I want no quarrel with him. The rest of the horses come up to the newborn. They nose touch and speak softly. They stroke the mother's sweaty neck and sides. They urge her to stand. They walk around and around her, never stepping on the little one as it lies, drying on the ground. They are careful and kind. A pack, just like mine. The father looks at his family and snorts with pride. I want this. Not just any pack that will take me in. I want to lead a pack. I always wanted to be the boss of Sharp, just to prove that being the fastest matters more than being the biggest. I always wanted to look after Worm and hunt for him and keep him safe, but this is more, so much more. I want home ground. I want to wet mark a place of my own, a good place full of trees and oak. I want snow and rain and room to run. I will never stop looking. The thought of finding my own home ground and earning a family makes me want to howl up to the moon, even if I am the only wolf howling. There is no time for a howl. I should move on. I should leave the horses in peace. The sun has hit the horizon, and I use the last of the light to choose a path off the mountain, a path that will not cross the meadow, the horses' home ground. I am about to go when I hear a rock behind me roll downhill. Instantly, I am on my feet and wary. I did not smell anyone coming, did not hear anyone. That can only mean one thing. A hunter is nearby. I scan the boulder field behind me and find it. A cougar. The pup stealer. Mother's first warning was about cougars. She took us to a line of cougar tracks in the forest. We memorized the shape of the print and the smell. Mother described the color of the fur and the markings on the face. He is a silent hunter, she said. He climbs trees. He attacks from behind, and always, 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 he steals the young. Beware. I look over my shoulder at the horses in the meadow. They are settling in for the night, wrapped in the warmth of the new pup in each other. Even the father is weary and puts his head down to rest. They have no ravens to send up the alarm. I check my escape route. I am no little pup to be stolen in the night. The new horse is what a cougar would want. I should walk away. But the horses are not sneaking, solitary creatures. They are not mindless grass eaters like sheep. They are a pack. I could warn them. I should. A cougar is bigger than me. He can jump rivers. I have to swim and leap into trees like a bird. With the pack at my side, I would not fear him for a moment. But I am on my own, and cougars are treacherous. It is coming into range. In a moment, smell will give me away. I make my choice. I give one sharp bark. It is all the warning I can spare. I bolt from the ridgetop. I am fast, but a cougar is faster in the short run. I pour on the speed, taking the steepest route I can find. The father is up in an instant. He gives an answering cry. He drums the ground with his hoofs. The whole pack responds. I hear them galloping circles around the little one. They call their threats to the cougar, their voices joining together almost to howl. I do not hear the death cry of a stolen pup. The cougar has left the horses alone. It must be hunting me now. I zig and zag, looking over my shoulder. The cougar can run as silent as a shadow. I will never hear it coming. I am ready to fight if it comes to teeth and claws. I leap over boulders. The horses are far behind me. I cannot even smell them. I put all my hope and speed. My paws pound down the mountain, straight down. I keep to open ground where I will not be taken by a leap from an overhanging ledge. I do not smell the cougar following me, but I will not slacken my pace. I run full out past the tree line, through the clumps of junipers and the sagebrush. Back on the flat ground, I keep running. The last light of day grows gold against the white trunks of aspens. I swerve to one side and look back, still running. Nothing is moving in the twilight. The air all around me is clean of cougar smell. If my raven were me, she would raise the alarm. Now I have no one but myself. I put my faith in endurance. Cougars are fast, but no one has stamina like a wolf. I make space between me and trouble. It is fully dark when I slow to a trot and then a walk. Luck was with me this time, but I will not try that trick again. Not for a pack that is not my own. I keep walking through the night, alone again, but grateful to be alive.